Welcome to GOlive TV, the future in your hands. The only multicultural IPTV station that brings communities together. Over 2.7 million people have already watched. GOlive TV, anytime, anywhere.
Hello everyone, welcome. I'm Arif Gilani, author, speaker, and business consultant. Today I'm here to introduce you to the Ministry of Magic, Ministry of Miracles. Of course, the book has been launched already. It's available online, but I wanted to discuss what was the reasoning behind writing the book and a little bit of a story, because you might not remember what I've said, but perhaps you will remember the story, which is the most important part of really my presentation today. See, I came to Canada with a dream, with a goal, with a big desire in my heart to do something to make an impact, because it was already determined priorly. As a matter of fact, when I was 13 years old, my brother handed me this book. This is a copy that I got as a gift, and the title is Uncle Tom's Cabin. Now, this is a really interesting book. Those of you who are in the Canadian education system, I know you may have studied in high school, but it's a Canadian story. It's a unique story that was written by American author Harriet Beecher in 1800s. This is a story of George. George was a slave who went through tremendous difficulties and hardship to run away from the South America, where the slavery was predominant, came to Canada, eventually was able to build his life up, become a judge. And when I read the book first time in a foreign language, I was really blown away by the opportunity that a country like Canada, first world countries, offer for a person like me, for example. So this happened back in 1980s, when I was living in Iran, in the Triangle, the most strategically talked about and dangerous place perhaps on the planet, in Middle East, between the countries of Iran, Iraq, and Turkey, the most geopolitically sensitive area in the world. So there's been wars going on for over the last century. And when I was a child, prior to the age of 10, we had a life that was an example of the Little House on the Prairie, you know, the series. We had a really great life living off the land, a farming community of 50 people, and we didn't have everything we wanted, but we had a beautiful life. Family of 10, father, mother, grandmother, and a history, a 1,000-year history that was behind us. But all of that changed during the war. 1988, a war that extended between Iran and Iraq for over 10 years, had a deep impact on the destiny of the people in the region at the moment. And I am one of those stories, because one fine day, I remember while I was reading this very book, Uncle Tom's Cabin, that night, and I've been a note taker. Pen and paper have been my best friend throughout my life. That night, I wrote in my notebook that one day I will live in Canada. After reading Uncle Tom's Cabin, the book that exemplified the example of equality in Canada. So I had it in my mind and I submitted it to paper, and then I forgot about it. Life happened, so I tried to study and to become a doctor in the system that I was engaged in. And this is back in 1990, over 2 million people applied for university to medical science, and only 150,000 people would be rejected. And I remember studying really hard, waking up 5 a.m. to 8 a.m. before I go to school to prep myself during the grade 10, 11, and 12 to prepare for this unique exam that I would take to be accepted to the medical school. Well, I did that, and I was accepted. Out of 2 million people, I was ranking about 150,000 top people, and really a big celebration that I was going to become a doctor. I went back to my village. This is in Tehran. This is the capital of Iran. and I lived there during the last 4 years of my high school and participated in what's called concours, which is the exam, the countrywide exam for qualifications. 2 months later, during the summer, I got a letter that you're not qualified, that your background is different, that your race is different, that your nationality is different, and you are not qualified to study in university. So that was the first trigger in my life that prompted me to act. What did I act on? Actually, the idea that I had submitted to my mind through reading this book. The idea that one day I would live in Canada. That wasn't my first destiny, however, my destination, however. I set out to go to Europe because my family lived in Europe. I said, I'm going to be here. It's going to be helping me quicker to relate with my own family and be able to go through the university. So I left Iran, and as a Kurdish refugee for 3-4 years through Turkey, through Germany, refugee camps, all kinds of people, a lot of stories. But I never forgot that as a moment in my life that was life-changing. The minute that I realized that one day I was going to live in Canada, I submitted that to paper. This is really the trigger. To submit something to paper is going to change your life. That's why I put this book here. It's on paper. Through media. We're in media right now. TV, social media, Facebook, Instagram, all of these things. And the most powerful media that we have is a book. See, the religious books proved us. The Bible, the Quran, the other religious books are globally distributed because of the power that they hold within them. And I have put a lot of energy and research into this book because I wanted to find out, who am I, first of all? Why am I here? So I went on this journey that took me 7 years, eventually came to Canada, graduated from business school and started working with big corporations for a number of years. Then my inner self wasn't satisfied. I always wanted to do something better, something that I could fulfill my true potential. So I started my licenses in financial services. I started recruitment of people into financial services organization that I was a part of for 7 years. I was one of the top recruiters across Canada. Because when I spoke to people, I didn't select, I didn't choose. To me, they're all one brand. We're all human beings. You know, if you go back 6 or 7 generations, we all can be blood brothers and related, sisters and brothers. So I believe in this. To me, we're all one brand of humanity. So this book was the trigger point, which I'm hoping that the next book will be even a bigger trigger point in this story. When I arrived in Canada back in 1994, I actually remember clearly walking on Danforth Street with $20 in my pocket. I was broke. I had nobody, didn't know anybody. But I had a belief in myself that I was here to do something. So I'm walking down the street and I see a yard sale. I walk into the yard sale with $20 in my pocket and a lot of needs in my house. In my apartment was totally empty. I had nothing. I looked at the stuff that was for sale, couldn't find anything that was suitable within my budget, but a book caught my eye again. And I picked up that book, which was called Unlimited Powers by Anthony Robbins, which God introduced me to Jim Rohn, which introduced me to Brian Tracy, which introduced me to a lot of mentors that over the last 25 years I have been studying. And the source of all of this is this book right here, Think and Grow Rich. I study this book like I would study grade 10 qualification for university. I have read this 5 times, and every time I read, I definitely read something new in it. I learn something new. So I started to think about the science of getting wealthy because I wanted to contribute. And contributing to society, to my community, to my nation, to my people requires wealth. So in order for me to have wealth as a lone soldier, as a refugee in a foreign country would be something like an impossible. But if I had a formula in my hand, maybe I could have do something that would be beneficial to all humanity. So I started using this formula and I put it to the test through all of the things that happen in our lives. I had a eureka moment in 2012 when I was visiting my mother who had a heart attack. At the time, I was a financial advisor, had 2 offices, 20, 30, 40, 50 people showing up to the office every Saturday for training. So I was really busy building my business by But when my mother had a heart attack, it triggered another thing in my mind, which was the responsibility as a son to take care of your elderly parent. And this is a responsibility that is very common in tribal Eastern cultures. So I felt that pressure and I went back. And on the way, I picked up some camel products that they said was good for arthritis. And I know my mother had arthritis for over 10, 20 years, all the cold temperatures in the Middle East on top of the mountains. So I took her these products and she loved it and she recovered, and thank God she's still alive at 87, and that was 8 years ago. So that was another trigger in my mind. What is it about camel products that is good for arthritis, helps inflammation, and how it helped my mother was the trigger. I came back, I resigned from financial services career. I started the Camel Company of Canada, and really excited to get this product to the masses in Canada, because we all know the cold climate, and some of us come from warmer climates where we're really used to, our body temperatures are used to more moderate temperatures. So this would be a perfect fit for Canada. Well, really excited about the launch of the product at the Canadian National Exhibition, the CNE. And it was very successful. We sold about $50,000 worth of products in a matter of 10, 15 days. And that was the trigger. I said, okay, well, this is it. We're going to focus on this career, build natural fiber products that help people with pain and therapy, which I use even today myself. My father, who passed away earlier in 2022, when I was on my latest visit, wore his camel socks till his last days. As a matter of fact, they're very comforting, help the aging process. So that was my focus back then. And then I opened the store at the Centerpoint Mall, started to market the products and trying to reach out the other companies to collaborate with them. Really excited about the future. This was October 18, 2013. At that point, the business was just new and I was just getting started, so really excited, a lot of work. Got on my bike on a beautiful Sunday afternoon, just biking down Yonge Street to home and thinking about what I was gonna do next in my next step, and just having a fun time on my bike. As I was going down Yonge Street and somebody was making a turn, so they hit my bike. I flipped over, slided across the street, back of my head hit the sidewalk, and I was gone unconscious. Now imagine this, a new business, it was about 6-7 months, after a lot of research, living a very successful career from another business to come and pursue this opportunity, and now an accident brought it all to a halt. So when I arrived at Sunnybrook Hospitals, the doctor had given me 20% of chance of survival. I had lost a lot of blood. I was in a coma for 2 weeks, and when I woke up, I couldn't remember anything. Not my business, not my children, not my past, nothing was there. This is 2013. Again, with the help of the great Canadian healthcare system, which I'm really grateful for, all of the doctors that helped, all of the nurses, psychologists, psychiatrists, all of the people who have collaborated over the last 7-8 years. I wanted to thank you all right here, because you're part of this powerful story that's going to make an impact in the lives of other people. See, I was brought down to my knees in 2018. Didn't have my physical health. My business started to going down, which brings in another topic into the equation of really building a team. Thank God I had built a team of great people, both overseas and here, who helped collaborate and work together, even when I didn't know what I was doing or I didn't remember anything. Continued with the business, slowly moving forward, and I started to work on my recovery plan, and I really started to work on my physical body. I was reduced to 160 pounds, and I'm usually 200, 195 pounds. And the formula that I used to rebuild my mind and body was right here. I used this book, and I put it to the test. And once I was done, after 2 years, thank God, I was able to travel again, see my family again, regain my mind again, and I started to put in all of the events that happened leading to the accident into another book, which was called The Mountains Are Calling. See, I'm Kurd by nationality, which comes to the point of who am I really? And they say that the Kurds are the biggest ethnicity in the world who have no country of their own. They're divided between Iran, Iraq, and Turkey. So I thought, I have no friends through this recovery. Even my family didn't know about it. So the title was fitting, and I wrote it with great enthusiasm, just recouping from the events that happened to me. And I submitted to a few publishers, and the Christian Faith Publishing picked it up in US and started to helping me out, publish the book, and I started to getting it out, and great reviews came out. And some of my friends who wrote it, who were really, Kevin is a friend of mine, was 265-pound man, and when he was done reading the book, he went on a journey to lose all of his body fat and was fit at 195 or 200 pounds, just like myself when I saw him last. When COVID-19 hit, all of this equation changed. Again, I was able to get back on my feet based on the principles that I had learned on the books that I read, and of course the faith in the higher power, which is the most important of all, because without faith, really, we are not able to perform to our potential. So you got to put faith in everything you do. I recovered from my injuries, started back on my business, and went on a long trip to China and Mongolia to expand the business and help fine-tune the products back in the Middle East. And when I came back, it was December of 2019. The markets were still open. People were still going to shows and buying products, and were really excited, booked few shows, and went out and served our customers. And then the lockdown happened. COVID-19. Not only the origin of the pandemic lockdown, but the whole globe lockdown, including all of the small businesses like yours and mine who were perhaps could be a victim of this pandemic. But again, the formula to perseverance, to resilience, to everything that is required to make a business last. One of my mentors in the beginning of the pandemic said that banks, investors, and bigger companies will be looking at companies that during the pandemic will grow their presence, will expand their lines, and will be proactive. So I went on this proactive method and took a chance to go and serve my family, my parents who were in their 80s back in 2019. I said, I'm not going to be part of this lockdown. I don't like the lockdown. I want to be, I'm born free. This is not natural. So I went on this journey. And while I was on the journey, I put all of the research of 25 years in the ministry of miracles. Why? Because everybody is waiting for a miracle to happen to them. As a matter of fact, I'm just coming from a church, a friend of mine, a pastor, and people, I look in their eyes, I look in their faces, are looking for a miracle. But even bigger portion of people are looking for an easy miracle. They want it to happen overnight. It's like popcorn. You want things to happen fast. And I'm a testament that nothing good happens to you fast. And if it does, it's probably not worth it. Blood and tears and a lot of, I have the battle scars, like one of my readers said, of the testimony of that my books work, that this is reality, because the ministry of miracles has a few formulas that are life-changing. For example, about your health, about your mental health, which is even more important. All of this led to getting the book published in England and having it available globally. So if you haven't got a copy, I'm recommending to go one of the links that we're going to put on this video. Go on my website. See, they say that you don't know a person until you speak with them, spend time with them. And my way of reaching out is really through books right now, through seminars, through ministries, through wherever I can get an audience who is willing to take a step in the right direction to build their own destinies. See, they don't teach us these things in school. My children are 18 and 10 years old, and I have practiced these stuff. Some of these stories are in the book. Again, this is the story of me coming back from Mongolia.